Fairness of capitalism. Maybe stock market manipulation is your bag, or loan sharking, double identity theft, assassination, or even worse, swinging.
I literally hate when my girlfriends are like, oh, I have a guy friend that I think you'd be interested in. How did he become your guy friend? Oh, he had a crush on you. And then you curved him, and now you're trying to put him onto me. If he wasn't good enough for you, then he's not good enough for me. I don't want him. I literally hate when.
Hey, yo, black men, what's happening, man? Peace. Tell me what's goody, right? Now, you guys just watched that, and again, this how much more proof do I need to show you guys? I made the one video about my female friends maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then I just made the other video the other day about the Tyrones. Like, come on, like, come on, man. I mean, at this point, we already know everything that black women do is premeditated. Everything they do is premeditated, man. I even told you guys back in my female friend video, I asked my female friends to hook me up with some of their friends. You know, they told me rubbish, they told me garbage. Oh, I don't have friends. Like, that's the one thing I always heard. I don't have friends. What female doesn't have female friends? You might have a few, but most women have other female friends. Like, come on now. And even in that clip I attached to the female friend video, the guy was saying, "Listen, put me on with your friends." Oh, and the chick said, "I don't have friends." And then he popped up in the next scene of the skit saying, "Yo, who was that?" And she said, "Oh, my friends." I'm like, "Yo, but see, that's why, because it's pre-selection." You guys might say, "Oh, this is female nature, bro, female behavior." I mean, it is what it is, bro. But this is why women already go for guys who have girlfriends, because in their mind, if he's good enough for you, he's good enough for me. And women, women are more strict about their standard in a man compared to where men, especially black men, they just lower their standard to the ground. White men are pretty firm in their standard. Asian men are pretty firm in their standard. Can't speak too much for Latino men. I mean, if a Latina, most Latinas are kind of, excuse me. Most Latinas are kind of small in the early phases of the life, but I guess as they get older, they get bigger. I mean, black women and Latinas, they do age the best compared to any other racial group. But anyways, right? Yeah, this is pretty much how black women choose their men, because they look for the men that other women have already picked. That's why a female doesn't mind being a man's third, second, fourth, or fifth baby mother, because in their minds, again, they're thinking, well, she chose you, so you're good. It's pretty much a green light. It's like putting a stamp on somebody. You know what I'm saying? This stamp means you're clear. Put them on the assembly line. And again, the buck Negro. That's why sometimes when guys make this kind of content for black men, if you're a black man and you're over 6 feet, you're a black man, you already have 2, 3, 4 children, 2, 3, 4 baby mothers. I'm like, man, listen, you're, I'm not saying your talking points are invalid. I'm not saying you don't know what you're talking about. It's just the fact that you're different. I'm sorry, you're living a different reality. And maybe even if you don't mess with black women, up until you became conscious to the reason of why you don't want to do it anymore, you played life on a different difficulty dealing with them. Like, when I make this content, I'm really the average black man. I'm really the average non-select black man. 5'10", average looks. Now again, I'm not incel, but by definition of incel, I mean I haven't hooked up in a while, so I guess therefore I am incel, but I'm not a virgin. You know what I'm saying? Like, but am I scoring? No, not even a little bit, dude. Listen, my Johnson is dried in my damn lips right now. But I mean, this is why they're all dating the same 10% and maybe even 20% of men. And see, the way I like to break things up, right? Because I mentioned in the other video, you have Tyrone at the top and Tyrone at the bottom. And the way I would kind of categorize those men was, I would say, pretty much a 7 and above, right? Because The majority of people on the planet, male and female, they're average. Now, a lot of you guys, especially black men, you will overinflate a woman's value because you're a simp and you've been starved out. I mean, I've been starved out too, but at least I'm more realistic. You know what I'm saying? I have self-discipline, right? But I know a lot of you guys, because I've heard black men call a 2 a 5. I've heard black men call a 3 a 6. I've heard black men call a 4 a 10. So that's how I know black men are just the biggest simps ever. I've seen black men call fat women 8s. What? No, bro. If you are not willing to go out in public with a female, she is below a 5. And fat women, the highest they can be is a 2, maybe a 3. A 4, the way I would describe a female who's a 4, and hold on, let me say this too. Black men, for whatever reason, they equate a chick with a nice body, that also adds to her value. No, it does not. If she's a 4 in the face, but she has a fat ass and titties, you know what I'm saying? That still makes her a 4. She does not go up to a 6. She's still a 4. Okay, black men? God, I hate when niggas do that shit, man. But a 4, even with a nice body, she has a chopped face. And like I said, if you don't want to go out in public with her, if you don't mind walking around at the mall holding hands, you don't mind kissing her in front of everybody, bringing her home to your mother, taking a screenshot and sending it in the group chat with your homies, that's how you know she's below a 5. Because listen, they say don't kiss and tell. Man, as a man, listen, bro, if you just knock down some pretty female, bro, you're going to want to talk about it, man. You might not go into details about what you did, but man, you want to talk about the fact that, yo, I got this pretty female. And, you know, black men, they do put their value into women. Like, black men really pride themselves, like their manhood. Not the fact that he can take care of himself, not the fact that he's independent, not the fact that he has a good career, not the fact that he has a good spiritual connection with the Most High, not the fact that he has financial literacy, not the fact that he has health, wealth, and education. Black men pride themselves and they pride their manhood on their stroke and the female that they can get. Black men pride themselves on how many women they have had sex with, whereas men from other cultures, that stuff doesn't matter. That's why I'm gonna keep it a stack. At least, again, as a black immigrant, right? Well, I'm a first generation, so I'm not really an immigrant, but I see how black immigrants who come to America, they tend to, as a collective, right? They tend to do better than African American people just because, you know, again, coming from a black nation, right? Yes, we may have all dealt with the colonizer in some kind of way, but in a black nation where on the dollar bill, the people look just like you, your president looks just like you, listen, you can focus on education, right? Anyways, it comes down to the fact that, again, black men, especially African-American black men, they put everything into women, and this is why black women tend to be the downfall and the destruction of black men. Now, if you're westernized, you're westernized. If you're first generation, second generation, you grew up in America, you went to public school in America, you're pretty much lumped into the same category as an African American, right? But people who are first gen, you're a descendant of somebody who's not born and raised in America. We only make up a small percentage of the African American population. So again, that's why we tend to do better. But is it all black men? No, because I've met, again, the guys who I make content for, the 10% of black men who I talk about, hopefully it grows to 15, hopefully it grows to 20%. We do not care about my stroke. We do not care about the amount of females you put your Johnson inside and stroke, man. Because let me say this real quick too. For these Tyrones, for the guys who want to compete, you know what I'm saying? And listen, I was once there, man. I remember, listen, one of my close friends back in the day, we made a bet to see who can smash, I think it was 20 females before the end of high school. I mean, I did not reach that goal. I'm close at 25 years old, but I did not reach that goal before the end of high school. But one thing I have realized, because like I said before, The majority of people on the planet are between a 4 and a 6. Now, this is how I kind of believe it, right? A female will not rate you to be anything above a 6 if you're not over 6 feet in height. If you're 6 feet in height and over, you start at a 7 baseline. Even if you have an average face, it's just the fact that we see how females hyperfixate on the fact that you need to be tall, right? And I had that one sip in my comment section talking about, oh, I'm 5'9". No female ever called me short. You're lying, dude. You're lying, bro. And again, these 5'9", hold on, I'll save that part for the end of the video. But again, that's where it starts at the baseline, because the majority of people are between a 4 and a 6. If these guys are telling you out here, man, oh, I got 50 bodies, I got 100 bodies, I got 300 bodies. Like I said, black men already have low standards. So that means he's fucking 2s, 3s, 4s, because it's not that many 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s to go around. If you think it's a whole bunch of 10s walking around, that's how I know you're a simp. That's how I know you overinflate women's value, because you've been starved out. You probably been raised by your single mom to where, oh, females can do no wrong. Females are perfect. Oh, you just hate women. Yeah, whatever, simp. Now, like I said, man, the majority of people are between a 4 and a 6. If you walk into a room and there's 10 females and you say, oh, man, every chick in here is an 8, 9, and 10, I know you're a simp. Because a good-looking female could easily be a 6. A good-looking female could easily be a 5. But you got Tyrones who are baseline 7s, and he's shooting for 4, 5s, and 6s. And those same 4, 5s, and 6s are telling guys who are on their level, you are not good enough. And therefore, effectively, you've been starved out. So, I mean, that's the game. That's why guys always tell, other guys, get your passport. And see, this is the best part about the passport, because when it comes to the whole passport thing, black men, again, the 10% who I make content for, black men, please get your passport, because Tyrone, he's not leaving black women alone. Tyrone, listen, because black women treat him, I'm not going to say good, but they treat him better than you. Tyrone isn't starved out. If you're going 2, 3, 4 months, no action, bro, you're starved out effectively. Some guys, listen, what's the one saying? Some guys are one blowjob. Some guys are just a one night stand away from the plantation. Again, as the average black man. Hold on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get into this one. I'm so off topic, but I'm gonna get into it because it kind of all ties together, right? Tyrones, they don't go too long without having action unless they choose to. That's why I can respect a Tyrone who turns his back to black women, and he turns his back and say, listen, I'm going monk mode, I'm going overseas, and big ups to you, right? But for the black men who still choose to deal with black women, right? One thing I realized, these guys, they don't go too long without not having any action, right? And for the average guy, right? Because I got off topic from it in the beginning, but there's 3 categories of men. You got the guys, the top 10 to 20%. And then from there, you have the average guys, which make up the next 40%. And then after the 40%, right, you have the remaining, what would that be? My math is off. You would have the remaining, 40%, 70%, maybe depending on how you want to add up, the certain numbers. But that's the bottom rung of guys who don't get anything. You won't even be the backup plan. And then the 40% of the average men, you become the backup plan because you were starved out. Now, Tyrones, they're not starved out, but you as the average black man, see, like I said, Tyrone, 1, he's not leaving the West. 2, he doesn't have any money. 3, Tyrone has felonies. So that's why when you go overseas, black men, you're going to have a great time automatically. Because Tyrone, like the average Tyrone, let's just say Tyrone makes up, should I even say 30%? Should I say 30%, guys? All right, let's say this, right? Let's say Tyrones make up 30% of men. And then the next 40% are the average men. And then let's say that the remaining 30% are guys that women won't even check for, even if they had no options, right? For the guys in the 40%, especially if you're in the upper half of the 40%, like I said, the majority of people who are 4s to 6s, if you're like a 5.5, 6, man, trust me, on a global scale, you're really like a 7, maybe even an 8 if you're like a solid 6, because women overseas, you can say women as a whole, right, all care about the same stuff, which could possibly be true, but at the same time, unless you're talking about African chicks, I mean, they're not really hyper fixated on the fact that, oh, you gotta be 6'5", extra mass. See, hold on. Black women, when they talk about masculine, they're talking about masculine in a certain kind of way, a very specific kind of way. I've been seeing these African pages on my Instagram timeline lately, and I find it very interesting. I guess maybe not in the cities of Africa, right? Like in the major cities of certain countries, but maybe in a small village outside of town, maybe 50, 100 miles outside the major city within whatever African country. In these small villages, I'm seeing that they're hosting these fighting competitions. I'm like, what? And I'm talking about bare knuckle, feet to face, knuckle to chin, like a bare fist fight, bare wrestling, dude. I'm like, wow, this is what's going on the continent. And I told people, and I forgot which video I said it in, but yes, as Black people, we are primal, we are savage, we are animalistic. Only until, because let's keep it a stack. Only until white men came into Africa and developed civilizations. I mean, keep it a stack, bro. I don't want to sound like no coon or no white supremacist, but yo, we would have been right there still doing these bare knuckle fights, and only the biggest, only the fastest, only the strongest man get to reproduce. What the fuck? Like I said, that's why it was so easy for the white men to come in and take over, because the Black men who have intelligence, you are shunned. You are looked down upon. You are shunned. You will look down upon, and anybody with common sense understands that intelligence is the dominant gene. Come on, dude. I've understood this from a long time ago. Jocks are stupid as fuck. These niggas are morons. Am I saying that the average jock doesn't know what 4 times 4 is? Listen, he probably doesn't. He probably can't tell you when slavery ended. He probably doesn't know. Listen, if you ask the average Tyrone to point to where all 50 states are in the country, he can't do it. You ask Tyrone to point to where's Iowa on the map. You ask Tyrone to point to where's Minnesota on the map. You ask Tyrone to point to where Oklahoma is on the map. I promise you they can't even do it. Matter of fact, Maryland is a very small state. If I'm not mistaken, it might be in like the bottom 5 of like smallest states. I bet you the average Tyrone can't even point to where Maryland is on the map. You ask Tyrone to name the original 13 colonies. I bet you he can't even do it. But see, again, when you're Tyrone in the eyes of Black women, they don't care if you're stupid. They don't care if you're slow. They don't care if you IQ 75, IQ 70. They don't care if you can't take a standardized test. They don't care if you're neurotypical, neurodivergent. They don't care if you're autistic, you're Aspergy. They don't care if you can't speak. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care if you can't articulate yourself. They don't care if you speak in I mean, I like, They do not care, because they're looking at the fact that, oh, you have a square jawline. Oh, you have a beard. Oh, you're 6'5". But and again, is every Tyrone stupid? No, because there's actually some smart Tyrones, but how many? Tyrone's baseline, like I said, Tyrone, he can answer what 2 + 2 is. He might even be able to tell you what 12 times 12 is. But maybe it's hard for people to understand. But again, when you're blessed in a physical way, you lack intelligence. I've been saying this since I was 14 years old. Like literally, I've been saying this since I was 14. A bitch with a fat ass, especially black women who have a fat ass, those are the stupidest black women in the whole group. She is slow. There's a trade-off for a bitch ass to be that fat. You know she has a little ass brain. It's like a peanut. If you probably flick her, if you probably flick her head, her brain probably bumps off the side of her skull. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I said, it's the same way for the guys. If you're blessed to be 6'5", bro, you're not gonna be the smartest guy ever. Am I saying that's every single person? No, of course you have outliers, but that's not the rule. The average, listen, bro, and please, you can't fight me on that, dude. Just look at your high school football team. Look at the college football team that you for the school you went to. The average Tyrone on that team was stupid as fuck. Whether he was the wide receiver, whether he was the running back, whether he was the quarterback. Come on, like these Tyrones, bro. Listen, I even mentioned it in that one video. I said, listen, bro, back in high school, I knew a basketball player, bro, cold hooper, cold. He was, I think maybe a grade or two above me. When he was a freshman in high school, he was a starter on the varsity basketball team as a point guard. As a freshman, he is a starting varsity point guard. That's how good he was. He was easily putting up 25, 30, 40 points a game. I think this is how you listen, hold on. What's that record that most not most? What's the record that most I keep saying most? What's the record that some guys set in high school? I think it's the 1,000-point club. He was one of the guys that got into a 1,000-point club. How many basketball players do you know in high school on a basketball team who's putting up 1,000 points in their high school basketball career? What? That's how you know he was good. But this Tyrone, yeah, he was tall, and this nigga was slow as shit. Like, there's a reason why that whole bill, No Child Left Behind, was put into place, because it was made. You guys might say, "Oh, you're racist." It was made for black people. It was made for brown people, and yeah, we may be gifted at sports, but when it comes to the intelligent bracket, I mean, we lack. Now, again, Nigerians, I will give you that. Black immigrants, I will give you that. Like, black Caribbean people, black African people. Listen, when we come to America, we don't play, because here's the reason why. Yes, in our countries, we may dealt with the colonizer. We have dealt with, white supremacy to certain extents. But in our countries, we have people that look like us on a dollar bill. We have a president or a prime minister that look like us on a dollar bill, right? Or in a position of power. And not only that, for somebody, because again, it's easier to leave a white nation and come to America compared to leaving a black nation, even if it is a Western black nation, and it comes to America. Listen, I'm West Indian. I'm Caribbean, bro. So listen, I know I've been hearing it my whole life. If you want to leave the Caribbean islands and come to America, bro, for the most part, you're coming over here as an illegal immigrant. Like 9 times out of 10. Again, for somebody to leave Africa and come to America, for somebody to leave the Caribbean and come to America, bro, you're coming over here on an academic scholarship, on a work visa. You know what I'm saying? You were the cream of the crop amongst your own people, because you cannot kick a football. It's called football outside of America, not soccer, right? You cannot play football and come to America from the islands or from Africa. You cannot rap your way off the island or off the continent. That's not happening. You have to have intelligence. You have to have some kind of degree. You have to have a work visa, right? Because that's the only blacks that they want in the country who are outside of the country. We want the cream of the crop. That's why African Americans, and it's no this towards you guys, but you guys can focus on, oh, I want to be a rapper. Oh, I want to play basketball, football. You know what I'm saying? Oh, trap, street, drugs, gangbang. You can focus on that kind of stuff because, again, America already brainwashes you from the jump to not ever leave America and to not ever learn about anything outside of America. But you're more focused on short term goals, you know, non fictional things because again, when you're living outside of America in these third world countries, in these second world countries, your reality is too real. You're walking on a dirt road with no shoes on, stepping on gravel. Yeah, don't get me wrong. People living in these countries, they're happy, bro. That's why immigrants, especially black immigrants, they come to America or they go to the UK or they go to Australia, they make their money, send it back home, and they leave, right? Whether it takes them 5, 10, 15, 20 years, they eventually go back home. Because being in America is some BS. But again, ultimately, what I'm trying to get to is you cannot leave your continent or you cannot leave the continent, the motherland. You cannot leave the islands unless you're coming over here with a scholarship on a work visa, right? And so, like I said, those are the Tyrones that you might see who are intelligent, but excuse me, as a whole, as a collective, no. That's the trade-off. If you're blessed to be 6'5", 6'6", 250, listen, for the average as the collective, no, these guys aren't the smartest people. Intelligence have been always associated with guys who are compacted in a smaller frame. Am I saying that you're 5'1" and you're a scientist? No, it's not impossible, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's just so funny. But again, that's why black women, and I'm so off topic, but see, that's why I like to make these videos, man, because black women, that's why as a black man, and you're still dealing with black women, that's how I know you support white supremacy. You may say what I'm saying, oh, you're a coon, or you're a racist, or you support white supremacy. No, black women support white supremacy. Black women still hold on to the plantation. Black women still hold on to the fact that I'm gonna procreate with the buck and make the average man take care of the child. No, that's you dumbass niggas. That's you stupid ass bitches. You support that because black women actively breed out intelligence, and that's how you know if they only breed with a black man, they breed with the buck. And the buck, aka Tyrone, he keeps the black race down in America because all he does is send his children off to prison. All the black women do is raise you up and send you off to prison. And for the daughters, all she does is create a daughter, a hoe ass, slut ass, stupid ass daughter who goes out here and become a single mom, Section 8, and all they do is make the cycle continue. The white man put it in position. I said it before. 1712, he came to America, Willie Lynch, and he went to Virginia. Every slave plantation owner went to the meeting in Virginia, and he said, listen, if you implement my tactics for 1 year solidly, right, you will now create a new system where it will be self-refueling. It will be self-generating. It will be an orbit that turns on its own axis. The system. So that's how you, because again, if black women actually gave men like myself, the average black man, especially again, not the guys who are complaining, because again, outside of me just not having any action what black women do, I wouldn't trade my life with any Tyrone for nothing. Because again, I went to college, I graduated, I have a good job, I went to high school, I graduated, I have an apartment, I have a vehicle, I have a career, I have a future. I actually have accomplishments, I have accolades. I'm doing good. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I'm not complaining. I just want to wake guys up. But see, if black women give men like myself, the men who go overseas and travel, the men who go and look for foreign wives, if black women gave men like that children, that will put an end to white supremacy. Duh. Because we're going to actually be in our child's life. We're going to actually raise our children. We're going to actually give them the right information. But see, black women, they don't want that. That again, that's how you know they support white supremacy. Anyways, man, I didn't really gave it to you guys a mouthful, but I think I'm done with this one. Um, like I said, back just to bring it back to the original video. Yes, because she curved you, right? Because she felt like you wasn't good enough for her, you're not good enough for her friend. And if she tries to pass you to her friend already knows my friend curved you, so you're not good enough. That's why they only want 10 to 20% of the same men. We already know that 92% of incarcerated black men have children. We already know that under 30 years old, 1 out of 3, which is the 10 to 20% of black men, have children. While I think, let's say up to 27, right? That 77%, which is pretty much 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 3 black women already have children by 27 years old. By 24 years old, it's in the 60%. So that's still 2 out of 3, right? And I think it's by 21 or like 18. Like already, I think it's like 40% of black women already have children. So that's still like 1.5 out of 3. And for black men, like I said, it goes all the way up to 30. All the way up to 30. That's when black men, who are the average black men, right? Now, maybe you might have a chance to have your first set of children. But that's only after she's raised. That's only after she had Tyrone's kid. So now you got to come in and raise Tyrone's kid along with your kid. And that's going to last for about 5 to 7 years. She's going to divorce your ass, take half of what you have, maybe even more. Now you got to pay alimony. Now you're paying child support. Now you got to give up your house. Now she's fucking a new younger Tyrone in your house that you're paying for. And that's your cycle. Anyways, black men. That's why, as a black man, if you're still dealing with black women, man, especially these Western black women, you're a loser. Anyways, I'm out. Peace.